Now listen, he says Oprah here.
Give me the gun, Eugene.
No, Eugene, don't do it. Don't do it, Eugene.
Where's Oprah?
It's coming.
Oh, my God.
Right here.
You will be Oprah.
Yeah.
You hear me, Oprah?
So,
Who truly does
That is
the
awesome.
real puppet master.
That's I will never see this movie the same way ever.
This is Commentary on Commentary, a series in which I take DVD commentary tracks and break them down into a best-of list that includes Easter eggs, movie trivia, filmmaking tips, and much more. I'm Kenneth Arthur, and this week's facts are about Final Destination 2, and come to you from 4 of the people who made the 2003 sequel. Stuntman-turned-director David Ellis, co-writers J. Mackye, Gruber, and Eric Bress, who had been making noise in Hollywood at the time with their script for The Butterfly Effect, and producer Craig Perry, the only one of the 4 who was involved in the original Final Destination. This is a really fun commentary track that I highly recommend, and I've pulled together 130 facts about how they made the movie, including how they pulled off those kills, a production designer with a name you won't soon forget, and why you always want to get final approval on which of your mugshots they use in the final cut.
she's gonna hate you forever.
She did. It's hard to shoot 6 people in a car.
So buckle up and get ready for the road, because I spy with my little eye 130 facts about Final Destination 2 as told to you by the people who made it.
This is Craig Perry. It was kind of nice to be able to even make a second movie. The first movie came about, Jeffrey Reddick had an original sort of idea that was an X-Files. You know, we sort of worked with him on a treatment to turn into a feature, and then Morgan and Wong, who wrote and directed the original film, came up with the very notion that death was an unseen force. And I think that's the thing that sort of broke open the sort of imagination vault for the entire franchise, because you could just do multiple different combinations of that kind of a, I guess you could call it a character, or at least that kind of a phenomenon interacting with people.
Well, that's why we took the job when it was offered to us. We were just like, well, at least it can be kind of like a Twilight Zone. It was something more. It's a lot of fun. And said with the Rube Goldberg sort of setups of the deaths and stuff, that's where it was like interesting. And
Well, there's a theme. The theme is, is not the bad versus do unto others as you would have others do unto you, but how you live your life is going to come back to you. The other thing that was challenging, I think, for this movie, and I'm sure the writers will attest to it, is the boatload of exposition about the rules that we had to get out.
there was a lot of time spent making sure that the rules were solid and connected to the first movie, and everything was seamless and logical, and audiences seemed to beg to differ on that one. They didn't care one way or the other.
They don't really care. They just want us to kill somebody.
See the mist coming out of the exhaust there. It was so friggin' cold. Going to spring break when it's snowing is really not a good thing.
Okay, now check out the small stunt driver in the first car. Very small, can barely see over the wheel.
Yep, there you go.
There he goes. That's a Canadian stunt guy. That's his real weed.
We actually were fortunate enough to get about 4.5 miles of uninterrupted highway that they shut down for us. There's a website that collects all of the reviews across the country and puts them on this thing called the Tomato Meter. And I went on recently and was interested to find that in terms of our rating compared to the first one, the critics actually appreciated this movie better than the first one.
But when it came to this huge, immense crash that's coming up, we had one sentence: the carnage is immeasurable.
Well, I started my career a long time ago, 30 years ago, as a stuntman, and then progressed to stunt coordinator and then second unit director. And right before this, directed second unit on The Perfect Storm and Harry Potter and Matrix 2 and 3.
And when he said stunt, he was the man. I encourage everyone to turn off the disc right now, go online, go on IMDb, check out what David Ellis has been up to.
The best highway sequence ever was To Live and Die in LA, which you did.
The actor that was now shouting profanities out the window, we were shooting cement dust out to sort of duplicate the exhaust, and it was actually getting all over his face. So after a while, we realized we couldn't use any subsequent takes because he was looking like Al Jolson in the Jazz Singer. Okay, he was complete blackface.
That was real cocaine.
My dad has many questions about this, so David, how did you do this?
I don't know. That guy, he was great. That
Great stunt.
stunt guy, really, he was great. I like to do things practically if we can, because I just think that they look so much better. But with the logs, certainly they just did not work. When they fell off the truck, they just went blah.
We did a test to first drop the logs just to see what the hell dropping, 4,000-pound logs would look like. It's scary, but they kind of fall off and then they go sliding off the road. The logs don't bounce and drop the way that we needed them to dramatically set up the rest of the sequence. So we knew that they had to be digitally created logs.
Now, look at this stunt girl's hair in this next shot. It's really
Yeah,
good.
it's one of my favorite shots.
Yeah, people
Right.
really, they get, right?
See,
That's where
she was great. She was really talented. We had a really talented stunt coordinator named Freddie Heiss, and also a very good second unit director named David Barrett. That's David right there at the windows. He's also an actress.
Michael Landis is the guy that we're looking at. We were supposed to start shooting on a Monday, and on Thursday, the week before, we didn't have anybody cast in the role. So just by luck, he became available. We said, great, bring him on up. And he literally arrived on set having not even read the script. He said, okay, where are my sides? What am I doing? What's going on?
This character is Eugene, played by T.C. Carson. And originally in the screenplay, I think Eugene was this nebbishy Woody Allen type. And it was such a great choice because I don't know how Woody Allen would have done in that particular role, and he was unavailable.
Flames were added in the front windows to obfuscate the lack of dummies inside. Little 16-year-old Timmy.
It was originally written as 13, but for some reason people didn't want us to kill us 13.
And before we acquiesced to 13, I think it was 7.
Yeah.
Linda Boyd over there, who plays Nora, the mother, she was so amazing that, certain scenes, I believe, had to be cut because her reactions to her son's death were just so powerful.
So what we're trying to say is that kid's gonna die.
This is Craig Perry. My relationship with Eric Bress goes back to college, oddly enough. But we actually fell out of touch for about 6 years, if not a little longer. And then someone who was working at our offices read a script that I think both of you had written, and you came in, and you and I were looking like, wait, I know you. Yeah. Then we realized how sick and twisted these guys were, based on the movie that these guys wrote and directed called The Butterfly Effect, which is probably going to be coming out this fall. We heard over 70 different versions of what this sequel might be. Some of which were the stupidest things you've ever heard in your life. Well, Alex Browning is now into extreme sports because he's cheating death. And I just want to kill myself. It was the dumbest fucking thing ever.
Rube Goldberg was an interesting inventor. People use that expression all the time, and very Rube Goldberg-esque. Rube Goldberg was a Pulitzer Prize-winning cartoonist, sculptor, and author. And what he would do is he would draw these pictures of wacky inventions. He was caught up in technology and showing how we devise machines that are very complicated to do simple things.
Yeah, I got something to say. On there, you will see on the refrigerator, it says, "Hey, E," because this character's name's Evan. And then when you'll see the H pop off, it'll say I.
Wait for it.
You'll wait for
Here
it.
it comes.
It's
Hold.
It's coming.
Oh.
And then you'll see I, and that's
Now,
how
don't
we'll get it.
The nipple ring.
Yes.
Don't forget that. See the Firebird thing on the back? Remember, he was in a Firebird on fire.
This is all done on stage. We actually did this on a stage where they could control all the flames with gas jets that were embedded in the actual floor.
See the Firebird? See the Firebird in that shot?
Flames are the toughest thing to do digitally, right? Everyone complains. Flames, oh no.
I get it? Yeah, okay, good.
There were a number of ways that he died. Here he died by a brick to the head. Once it was flesh-eating bacteria.
A spider bite was another
Yeah, spider bite. Yeah. There's a photo by Cheyenne Ellis back there in the background, my daughter.
The camera of a highway patrol car managed to catch.
I just thought that would be funny. There she is watching on the news, and look at her. She's all upset because her friends died. And this guy you gotta love.
Yeah.
He's great.
Jonathan Cherry just hit everything over the park.
There's the ambulance.
And that's the exact same model
Same
and number.
one. Same exact number.
Oh yeah,
Lots of thought went into this.
you
stuff.
and Michael Bolton just sat down, and the production designer, and came up with all kinds of chunky goodness. When the light goes off and you look at how it falls on little Timmy's face, his face sort of looks like a skull, which is something that we actually plan to do.
Clown.
Yeah.
Look at a Mac computer.
Yeah, look at that. Look, that's brightly lit. Actual loony bin. Can you say loony bin? Good. Nut house. Was that like a cuckoo's nest?
It was a homage to Cuckoo's Nest.
It was tough shooting in this stage too, in this environment, because it was all white and everyone had to take their shoes off. So we all had little booties and socks so that we wouldn't mar up the floor and the walls.
In case anyone's wondering, Fun Tack is what's holding those things in that room, just in case you were wondering if she had, push pins, which would be dangerous.
Michael Bolton was our production designer. AJ Cook, right there, our star. She's beautiful.
You hide out in here because you're too...
This is kind of the girl versus girl scene. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Highway.
There's a highway. Here's Michael Landis, who was trying to rob her house. This fish was incredibly trained. Watch what it does, okay? And they say, lay down. That is so good.
Came up with the movie itself.
That had to hurt. Right?
That's stunt vision, yeah, exactly.
Now notice the smoke there. That's a little CG smoke coming out of its mouth.
And the tear.
Was that a real tear?
That was Visine.
Little Timmy's open maw. Listen, blink. They go, whoa! Oh my god, it's so gnarly. And you know what? I think that's the only take where we really nailed it. All the other ones, like, it bounced off his nose or hit his chin. Now, that
Ellis Medical Complex right there.
Yeah, subtle.
we had to do that twice. We actually had to do that twice. The first time, there wasn't enough blood or meat, and the little dowels that were in his legs didn't break, so his body collapsed, and his little legs were still sticking up amongst all the glass. It was a real 600-pound pane of glass. And we only had 2, so believe me, if it didn't work the second time, we were screwed. That was actually the shadow is Luther, who is a very tall, bald prop master. Yes.
There's the nipple. She's frowning because she knows that hurts.
But what's amazing is you saw how Tony Todd shoved that dummy. That dummy it required 2 people to carry that thing, and Tony is so big and so strong. He just shoved it with one hand right into the fire. Yeah. And his hands are enormous, and he's like really amazingly articulate hands. We really didn't ask the question, "Hey, dude, do you like horror movies?" And then we found out he had never really watched any of them.
No.
So we gave him a list of things to watch and things to sort of be mindful of.
That's a great shot.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's gonna hate you forever.
She did.
She actually said something to me about it, too.
Me too. After the premiere, she came up. She goes, "What the hell was that?"
And this was something that everyone was sure was not going to be in the movie.
That was real dog shit.
And this is great because these guys were just riffing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Here's what's great. Here he is.
That
He's
milk bottle.
He's a New York police officer.
Sir, who's got a really nice
He's got
apartment.
a bitchin' awesome loft apartment on his salary. So clearly he's a trust fund cop.
And where did he get that milk bottle? That he must have had a little time machine.
I had no idea whether this would work, but it did. Uh-oh.
And you were clever in getting the close-up of that 8-ball keychain earlier in the film.
13 ball.
Oh, is it 13?
In the background there,
There's
that
our
is
production designer in the
Michael
background,
Bolton.
Michael Bolton,
who's actually playing Sheriff Perry.
which is named after Craig Perry,
Oh, really?
producer. Yeah.
Okay, now it took us forever to figure out how you guys wrote it, and they're like, what did you guys-
Honestly, we had no idea.
So we actually, I think David and Michael Bolton and I kind of figured out that given that everything had fallen out, there may be a way that we could have things stack on top of each other that could create this shadow. And Michael went home that night and fiercely put together all these contraptions that, in sort of structuring it, would look like with the light behind it, there would be a shadow shot, shadow thrown.
This apparently happened at the Syracuse University. This was either an urban myth or something that actually happened. Linda Boyd spent, 2 days straight in this position.
Yeah. Now listen, he says Oprah here.
Give me the gun,
Listen.
Eugene. No, Eugene, don't do it. Don't do it, Eugene.
Where's Oprah?
It's coming. Right here.
Well, there was one element that there just wasn't time for, but when the guy tries to shoot himself and it's all duds in the gun, just that led to the concept of being invincible and that death was actually on your side.
So if you're not next on death's list, you're fine.
And that was something that really just didn't have time to make it into this movie, but, for 3, I think, there could be a lot. This I love.
Notice he's pointing the gun right at her.
In terms of why she's pregnant and everything that she does, I don't know. Obviously, in the first movie, that we used the John Denver songs to great ironic effect, and kind of wanted to play that card a little bit in this one with the Highway to Hell from AC/DC.
It's hard to shoot 6 people in a car,
Yes.
by the way.
The pole coming through, though, was CGI.
Correct.
Yeah.
I like how she calls him Jethro. That was ad lib. This is great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why Daddy rides the pony.
But we did that with Jonathan in a green suit, and then the appliance was his entire torso, and was broken into 3 parts.
And then they had position him, get stacked up there. He's kind of leaning over bizarrely. 1, 2, 3, pull. And one guy pulls this way, he falls down that way. And
The torso fell forward, and all of his innards went out all over onto the ground. And that was a bit much.
We did this shot about 10 times because she kept pulling his fake tie off.
Yeah.
Push the button. Push the button. Shirley Walker is an amazing composer that we were blessed to have on the film. She did the first film, and just amazing. She's great.
She's actually the first woman in Hollywood history to compose and orchestrate a feature film score for a major studio, and that was Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Now, if you'll notice that her lips are a little bit blue, yes.
And that's crazy. That's subtle.
And she did those underwater scenes, right? And she had
amazing, because she's claustrophobic, hates water.
And it's one of her sort of primal fears of being trapped in a car underwater. So, of course, she takes the role.
Actually, when you first shot this, you were so excited because the body hit the camera.
Exactly. Yeah. Almost broke the camera, too. Yeah. There was a beat here when AJ was backing up, and she stepped on one of the logs that was burning, because they use those Duraflame logs to have the smoke and stuff, and her pants caught on fire. She's there acting, and we're watching. Hey, wait, is she on fire? Okay. I love the fact that this lake is about 20 yards away from the back of this hospital, but you do the things you need to do.
We took a door to the lake.
Now, another thing that the flowers that you smell from the dangling air fresheners, originally there's a huge idea of a misdirect because the pregnant lady has a flower truck.
The water was like minus 30 or something.
That looks cold.
What's amazing is how fast the car actually went under. It took like 22 seconds for the entire thing hit the water and go down. It went down so fast. That was done in the pool. That was done in the pool. But that was actually in the lake as the thing was actually going down.
The POV coming up.
Yeah, the POV was actually shot in the lake itself.
That means point of view. There's a scuba guy behind her that's hiding. That when she needs air, she just puts her hand back and he gives her the regulator.
And yet another thing to add on top of it, with her contact lenses out, she can't see a thing.
She can't see a thing.
So
what was she saying? Was she saying anything specific when the bubbles are all coming out of her mouth?
She's just letting air out.
Get me the fuck out of here.
Every single that you see on people here, every single shot, we had to move the table across this field to find the sunlight that would match. So we do somebody's take, and then we say, okay, everybody, we'd run and pick the table up and move it like 40 feet, and then shoot the next person's thing because we're just running after the sun. Yes.
Oh, there goes mine. Yeah. Wait, no, but here comes the best.
We had to fight to keep that on.
Yes.
Yeah, we had to fight, but it's the best. A guy I've known since I was 11 years old doing the song for the end credits. His name is Jude.
The first one I saw, I think it was actually the second screening, but there was a rumor that had broken out. Everyone thought they were seeing Dreamcatcher. So I think there was this huge buzz. So at first they were like, oh, it's not Dreamcatcher. But almost instantly, they got so excited, and I've never seen an audience like ready to pull seats out of the theaters. It was like I really thought a riot was about to break out in the theater.
And interestingly enough, we had absolutely no problem with the ratings board at all.
Right. Leave it, ooh, it's scarier in the viewer's imagination. Bullshit.
If you go online to any of the Yahoo threads or any of the other internet chat rooms, that is one of the main things that they say is that, say what you want about the movie, it has a weird integrity. Hopefully, if everything goes well, you'll be seeing Final Destination 3 coming soon to a theater near you.
There was nothing wrong with it until I was about 12 years old, and that no-talent ass clown became famous and started winning Grammys.
Well, why don't you just go by Mike instead of Michael?
No way. Why should I change? He's the one who sucks.
So that's it. 130 facts about Final Destination 2 as told to you by 4 of the people who made it. I give this commentary track a good score. So that's it. Leave your commentary on commentary in the commentary below. I'm Kenneth Arthur, and this is Fair Use.